Good morning.
Good morning.
As I set my computer here, you may notice I also have a Nativity member name tag. Last week, my family and I were welcomed into your congregation, into our congregation, and it's really cool. So thank you for having me here. My name is Lauren Applegate. I'm a pastor here in the Northeastern Pennsylvania Synod, and my ministry is called Free to Be. Free to Be is a community of families and individuals who gather in small groups, who build deep and meaningful relationships through which we offer mutual support. We speak truthfully, we share stories, and we build the connections through which we experience the love and grace of God that cannot be earned or revoked. So with a name like Free to Be, you may be wondering, what are we finding freedom from? Well, our past decisions and patterns that no longer fit. Freedom from the ways that shame, blame, and guilt have been used to cause harm. The need to act or appear as perfect. We are finding freedom from the fears of not being accepted as we are, and the fear of our neighbor. Freedom to be looks like acceptance, grace, and companionship as we do life together. So Free to Be is a ministry that builds small group community among people and families who are easily overlooked by society. We are meeting people where they are and accompanying them as they find and build their new way of understanding who they are and how they are in relationship with God and neighbor. Has anyone ever experienced small group conversations? Yeah, show of hands. Small group conversations are where transformation ignites. Small group conversation is where we can learn and experience together and begin to see how our commonalities weave us together into larger communities. In Free to Be's current reality, we are building community among people who are on either a path of recovery within inpatient drug rehabs or outpatient programs. We are building community among established community organizations already, like the Little League or a PTO or those kinds of organizations where people want to build more deep relationships with the people they're working with. And also, we're getting together young families in the Bethlehem area and also beyond. So this may seem like a random smattering of groups in which we're building small group community, and also one of the assumptions that Free to Be operates under is that being human is the need for recovery and reformation. There comes a time when the things that we once held dear no longer fit to who we are and what we're up against. And so, in my experience, and also the experience of the people I talk to, having young families, finding a path to recovery, and also building an awareness that there's a certain level of urgency in today's time and space. So Free to Be's first small group happens at an inpatient recovery house, and one of the people I met there, his name was Will. He was there for 8 weeks. If we could back the slides up just once. Thank you. This is a picture of what it looks like to drive into the recovery house, and also a Bible that I read. I bring Bibles for the folks as we do Bible study there. And it's really awesome over the course of 8 weeks' time to see the transformation happening within people when they realize that God, the same God that's part of creation, is also the God of liberation and is the God that frees us into loving ourselves, loving our neighbor, and building community here and now that honors and witnesses God's love and grace in the world. Next slide, please. Our second small group of families got together, and these were families from just out in the community. While the grown-ups talked, you'll see the art project there that our kids put together. It was just an amazing experience of being honest about what it looks like, what do we need in this time and space, and how can we be supportive of one another. It was absolutely awesome. That same small group then went on, if you can show the next slide, to bring together 100 backpacks for a local elementary school. We packed these backpacks. We talked about how the students who will wear them and who will use them don't have access to necessarily the same resources that our families have. And what does it look like to build empathy and to build community beyond lines and separations? That same small group was then invited to show up in another elementary school and provide an art project, if you can go to the next slide, with the families, where they were invited to get a little messy and get a little creative by painting a pumpkin with ink blots. It was awesome. It was great to see how the beginnings of freedom and excitement were alive in these families, and how we as community can show up and make a difference in the lives of our neighbors. So Free to Be leaders, next slide, are actively preparing for our next wave of small groups, which will be beginning in January of 2025. If you know or love families with young children, especially in the Bethlehem area, that are looking for community and connection, please direct them our way. With your financial support, prayers, and recommendations, Free to Be can continue to build small group community through which the people we meet can find their freedom to be and build relationships that can freely be as they honor God, our Creator, Liberator, and the wisdom that moves us to act in love towards self and neighbor. It's through these relationships that we can freely be in, that we create communities in which we can freely be. My hope and prayer, as you go to the next slide, that the love of God may be with us until all are free to be. Thank you so much.